Splish splash, it's summertime! Welcome back to Talya Full Tilt. I'm Talya Ginsburg, and in celebration of our 20th episode, which I think is a real milestone, I thought we'd have a little Summer Jamboree party. So in case you were only listening, what you're missing is I am dressed entirely for the beach. I gotta say, at the stage I'm at in life, seasons are pretty irrelevant. So this feels like, oh, I'm doing something to acknowledge the existence of summer, because after graduating college, I graduated a little over 2 years ago now. It's, you no longer have summer break, and I don't have children, so they don't have summer break because they don't exist. So the idea of summer, it doesn't really, it's just hotter. And also, you know what? I mean, not to be a downer at my Summer Jamboree, but summer is definitely easily my least favorite season. Although I do think I base that mostly off of fabrics, because I love black velvet. Half my closet, easily half black velvet. So, and obviously clothing is a fun way to celebrate the seasons changing. And I feel like that's the excitement. You're like, oh my gosh, I haven't worn this in 6 months or whatever. But unfortunately, I will say one of my greatest flaws, I do dress basically the same year round, regardless of weather. Not good, but I don't know, I describe my style as pajama chic. I wear a lot of things that really toe the line, and sometimes step right over the line of, like, oh, is that a silky dress with lace trim and adjustable straps, or is that a negligee? I think summer also makes me feel like a little nostalgic, not necessarily in a sad way or anything, but just kind of like, oh, like a bittersweet. I think like my immediate association with summer is being a kid and just totally worry, stress-free, playing in a swimming pool, like at a pool party, having a blast. And because I think for me, pool parties and being into like a swimming pool is the most stark difference between childhood and adulthood. Yes, I love being fully submerged in water, but what I love more is not having my hair chlorine damaged, And I know you're thinking like, oh no, you gotta live in the moment and be happy. But that's kind of my point, is like, as an adult, I know myself, like, oh yes, me, jumping in the pool, like, woohoo, is gonna give me how many seconds of enjoyment, but then I know I'm gonna be miserable until my hair looks the way I want it to. Even putting on a swimsuit, like as an adult, I'm thinking to myself, oh, how's the shaving situation? How does my stomach look? That changes minute to minute. As a kid, you're swimming and you're having fun. As an adult, you're thinking like, how do I look? Although that's not true at all, because when I was 9 years old, I was severely anorexic. I was 42 pounds and it was very bad. Yes, I remember like having to work up the energy to walk across a small room. I did not talk very much. I did not have the energy to do much at all. Yes, but we've all been through hard things, and now I am healthy and happy. So what I mean is pre-childhood anorexia, the freedom and the stress-freeness of that, when I was a little kid. Not when I was a little kid, pun intended. It is interesting because I do think a lot of my behavior is kind of childlike, in that adults, we're very aware of how we're being perceived. So we don't just start crying randomly in the middle of a grocery store or things like that. It's like, when they say, oh, kids say the darndest things, it's because they don't yet fully understand of like, oh, I'm gonna say this. And then people are, they're very in the moment, not to be condescending, but they'll say something and they think versus as an adult, if you say so and you're like, oh my gosh, that was embarrassing, that'll keep you up for 3 nights in a row. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily. That's just kind of the way life goes. Although what I do think is kind of interesting is I wouldn't be surprised if then life is kind of full circle in that way, where there will come a period where, when I'm old, where I'm like, who cares? Like, I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna think about what I'm looking like in a swimsuit. Or maybe I will be. I don't know. I could see myself being a pretty fussy, kind of sassy old lady. I don't know. I guess that's kind of, I imagine, well, so I'm 24, so definitely not a kid anymore, but still somewhere on the younger side in the scheme of life. And I imagine that the positive and negative of aging is that you probably develop more legitimate or more large scale things to be stressed about, or problems or worries. But on like the plus side is it probably gives you more perspective on just those little things of like, who cares? Like the bikini wasn't looking good, whatever. Maybe there's some sort of comfort in that. I don't know. Gosh, Summer Jamboree! Aren't I fun at a party? Kind of unrelated, but also a little related, because seasons days of the week. The other day, well, a couple weeks ago, whatever, I went into a gas station. They gave the cash register. I was like, oh, can you please put cash on this pump, blah, blah. And in the meantime, I asked him, oh, how are you doing today? And he goes, I'm great. Every day for me is a Friday. And I said, oh, that's awesome. That's such a great outlook to have on life. And he goes, yeah, although I don't know what day it is today. And I said, that's funny, coincidentally, today is Friday. And he goes, let me tell you something. Once you know which day is Friday, the rest is a lick. Isn't that gorgeous? Put that on a poster with a mountain. This has been so fun. Kind of bleak, kind of dark, but yay summer, okay. And I will see you next time. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Should I take these off at some point?